Hey there, I'm Chris Benetti, host of the Smart Author Podcast. In this episode, I speak with Dr. Angela Lauria of Difference Press, and we discussed why you should not buy a chapter in a collaborative book, and if you have already, how you can benefit from it. Some of the main topics we will be covering today include the problem with collaborative books, how you can benefit from a collaborative book if you've already written for one, and the three main things you can do as an author to differentiate yourself from other authors. At the end of this episode, please make sure you visit our website where you can find these show notes plus all the links mentioned with Angela. And if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you subscribe so you're always the first to know when a new episode is released. Now, let's head over to this fantastic interview. Welcome back to another episode of the Smart Author Podcast. Today, I'm joined again by the awesome Dr. Angela Lauria. Angela, how are you?
I am glad to be back. I knew from our first conversation you would have me back for more. This is going to be fire.
I honestly think there's probably going to be an endless supply of conversations Angela and I can have about books and marketing and writing and all of the things. So it's probably not the last.
And I hope that is the case.
Cool. So today we wanted to jump on and talk about co-authored books. I made a post 5 days ago in relation to people who have written a co-authored book or has contributed to one and what the pros and cons were. And of course, Angela stepped in to share some of her thoughts and we thought it was probably a viable conversation to have on the podcast just for awareness sake. So, Angela, I'd love to hear some of your perspective around that topic.
Yeah, so let's start with like level setting in terms of co-authors. So if you have a co-author, like you and your husband have a business together, you do relationship coaching, like my client, Angela Yausi, and her husband, Chris, they are ministers. They have a spiritual ministry. They minister to couples. They co-authored a book with us. This is not what we are talking about. Mm-hmm. If you have a business with somebody and you guys both put your names on the book, even if one person does all the writing, Angela, I know it was you. So we love you, Chris. But like that is, it's funny. Their names are Angela and Chris too, just like ours. I just realized.
We're not talking about us.
We're not talking about us. Yeah. We're talking about the Yosis who are amazing. So like, that's a different thing. What I see a lot of when people come to me are these collaborative books where one person, and it might be John Doe, like it might just be somebody who calls themselves a publisher, or it might be somebody famous, let's say Jack Canfield or Deepak Chopra, or like a well-known guru that puts together what sounds like an awesome idea. So sometimes this will be the coolest person in your mastermind will be like, we should all write a chapter for a book. Like it would be great. I'll put it together. You guys send me a chapter on your favorite lesson as an entrepreneur, and we'll call it Lessons from Entrepreneurs. And we're all going to have a chapter. And it seems, I think, like a good idea. There's often a really good pitch there, which is you only have to write a chapter and you can call yourself an author and we'll make it a bestseller. Great. You could be a best-selling author. So these collaborative book programs, like if you do one that has a big name, it could be 25 grand. Mm-hmm. It could be a lot of money. And it could just be 5 grand or 10 grand. And you're thinking, wow, I get a book. My name is on it. I get all the credibility. It's going to be a bestseller. And a lot of times people think these guru names on a book, like let's just say it was a Jack Canfield book or a T. Harv Eker book. And it's really going to be like T. Harv Eker presents 24 people that were willing to pay him $10K. Here's what happens. T. Harv Eker makes $250,000 and you get Jack. You get almost nothing from this experience. It will not get you clients. You can try and convince Chris to build you a book funnel. It's not going to work. You can imagine all 24 people who contributed a chapter are going to promote it. they're not. And even if they did, that wouldn't work. But one of the reasons you're not going to want to hire Chris and pay for media spend is you're promoting 24 experts. And by the way, the only one anyone's buying from is T. Harv Eker. And probably what they're buying is writing a chapter in his book. So what you're actually promoting is the guru's collaborative book. That's the only thing collaborative books sell, is another collaborative book by the person who charged you. That's what you're promoting. Not your products, not your services, not your expertise. A whole bunch of competitors that are all writing chapters, like maybe are stealing the readers, but they're not even, because no one's reading this thing. You can give it as Christmas presents. That's what I got for you.
No, I agree. And
so mad. It feels like they're stealing from people because it seems very glamorous. Like all 24 people promote it. You only have to write a chapter. It's less scary. People are afraid of writing.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give you all the benefits of being an author, and you only have to write a chapter, and you'll have 24 times the promotion. No, you fucking won't.
So the immediate thing that I think of when I hear these collaborative books is like, first of all, it seems like a lot of energy wasted with not much benefit, just like you've explained. I just think it's also like something that is such a hard thing to market. Like you said, you're basically marketing the expert, the authority in the book. And then it's like the message is unclear because 24 other people wrote the message, like there's
24 people sharing random thoughts. And often they're like on any topic.
Yeah.
Like random thoughts on any topic now available for just $15. I'm good. I have the whole internet. I could read random thoughts from people all day long.
There's something called Reddit.
Yeah, exactly. I got Reddit. I'm good. So I thought of a story to tell you.
Okay.
Because you asked me earlier, what are the pros? Like what's the upside? And I will tell you, I heard the best upside story from my coach. I was teaching about this to my coach. And I was like, it's so hard to compete with these people that want to do collaborative books because they think it's easier. And he's like, oh, I did a collaborative book once. It's my only book. I made a lot of money out of it. And so I was like, Kevin, how'd you make a lot of money at it? And he said, well, the person who put the book together, which was maybe like Jay Abraham or something like that, charged so much that everyone who wrote the book was the perfect prospect for me. So I went to every call, I joined the Facebook group, and every person in that collaborative book ended up buying for me, and his starting point's like 50K. So he's like, I made so much money. I don't think we sold a single book. I don't even know. I think I sent in my chapter. I'm not sure, but it is a great place to prospect. So if you're like a speaker coach, if you have a certification program, like these are people who do not know how to spend money well in their business. And they will, if you're a PR person, like get in there, do your chapter, sell to all those motherfuckers because they are ready to spend on stupid. That's what I got for you.
Look, and we're not trying to offend anyone who has written a collaborative book because we do have some other. Angela, I would love for you to go into some actual positives around it.
Hey, look, that's a positive. Yeah, I paid a shit ton of money. No, it is for a lot of our authors, one of the biggest things that stops them is imposter syndrome. And if doing yoga inversions makes you feel like less of an imposter, if getting a PhD makes you feel like less of an imposter, if getting over the obstacle of being an author by contributing a chapter helps you see your own value internally, that's worth every penny. So if it's the confidence to know you can get a project over the finish line, I do think that can be a value. It's not the value they're selling. You're not going to get clients from this. Yeah. But I do think, look, it's practice writing. If you haven't written a chapter, write one and publish it. Why the hell not? If you've got the money, I think that's great. The other thing is some people come to me and they really have nothing on their resume. And it is very hard for me to market a book if you are not an expert and you don't have any credentials. So if you've been in magazines, if you've been on TV, if you've spoken in front of groups, we can leverage that. But if you don't have those things, this is an easy way to pay for a credential.
Mm.
And you are paying for it, but that's okay. I paid for my PhD, like, and my master's degree. No, I actually got a scholarship for my master's degree, but I did pay for my PhD. So, you can pay for credentials. Doctors paid to go to med school, lawyers paid to go to law school. You can absolutely pay and add something really specific to your bio. One of the things that I sometimes use in my bio is that I got to share a stage with Damon John, who is on Shark Tank. Do you guys have Dragon's Den there?
Yeah, we have Dragon's Den. We also have an Australian Shark Tank as well.
Oh, okay. So he's on Shark Tank. He's my favorite shark. We both spoke on the same stage about an hour apart. And so I will say Angela has shared the stage with luminaries like Marianne Williamson and Damon John. And so I didn't pay for those, but like that's a credential. And in this case, even if you pay to be in a collaborative book, you can say has co-authored a book with T. Harv Eker. That's cool. Put that shit in your bio. I think that's great. But make sure you're suck all the value out of it. If you've already done this, suck all the value. Do not wait for the value to come by the other authors promoting it. The way you get value out of this is like, put it in your bio, put it on your homepage, put it in your follow-ups. I think that your chapter as a PDF can be a great follow-up for your indoc sequence. So a few years back, I co-authored a book with T. Harv Eker. Here's an excerpt from that book. Yeah. Don't give them all the other experts. Yeah. Don't worry if it's not the version that was in the book. Just grab your version, your Google Doc, turn it into a PDF and say, here's an excerpt from the book I co-wrote with T. Harv Eker. If you've got a few minutes before our sales call, read it.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say that, like all of the business would come from utilizing that stuff elsewhere, not the actual book itself. So, absolutely do whatever you can to grab and extract the value from, if you've done this, from those things.
Yeah. So the other thing that I want to say, if you're listening, do not sell this. It is not a great thing to sell. It's really the people who buy it. And if you are selling it with a pure heart, if you're like, this will be amazing, they'll all promote each other. Like, let me spare you of any delusion. If you're selling it because you think it's going to make your money and you're happy to steal from people, I guess have at it. You do you. But a lot of people I know who have sold this, many of whom are my like former clients who leave me and are so proud of their accomplishment. They're like, I know what I'll do. I'll take all my health coaches. I'll take all my whatever, the people that I coach, and I'll do a collaborative book. And they really are well-intentioned. And it seems like a good thing to sell, but really what you're doing is charging people to promote you.
Yeah.
So I don't know where you come down in the Andrew Tate controversies of the internet, but what I think Andrew Tate has done, because people are like, he's banned on social media. I'm like, he doesn't have any fucking social media accounts. He's good, dude. So like what he has done is he's gotten all of his buyers to advertise him. I mean, it's kind of brilliant. So he's like said, hey, I don't have a social media page. Use any of my clips and put them up on social media, and I will make clips that will go viral. Those clips, he's telling them, hey, this is going to grow your followers. Maybe it does, but no one's buying anything from them. All they're buying is Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
So when you do this, if you take on a collaborative project like this and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be so good for them, and I'll just charge them because I have expenses and I should make a little money. Really what you're doing is you're charging people, like Andrew Tate charges his clients in Hustler University or whatever the hell it's called. You're going to charge them. And then the service you're providing is I will charge you to do my marketing. It's not ethical. There's like an economic issue. It might work. Certainly ask Andrew Tate. He's like rolling in cash now, I believe, or naked ladies in cash, naked ladies plastered in cash. I don't know, but like it may work, but that like karma comes back around.
It's one of the more shady business practices for sure. And even if you do have the best intentions, it doesn't actually work out well for anyone but yourself, like the person selling it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like I said, if you've done a collaborative book, think about how you can get benefits from it on properties you own. Share that chapter. You don't share all 24. I know that might not sound fair because people signed up for you to market them. It's not, it's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for them either, by the way. No one's reading it. No one's buying it. And even if they did, they'd just be confused because it's a book of contrasting advice. So use that to inspire you. If you liked writing that chapter, you can turn that chapter into a book. Almost any chapter can be accordioned into a book. It could be the first chapter of your next book. So it can inspire what happens next, like what happens after this chapter, what happened before the chapter.
Yep.
So use it in ways that are going to help you grow your expertise. And I will say there's 3 things that are going to differentiate you as an author. And that is your ability to be a good writer. Not enough people talk about this. You can hire a ghostwriter if you've got the money to do that. But if not, practice your craft. That's a great reason to have written this. And go write more chapters, whether you publish them in a collaborative book or not. Write every day, write all the time, write on social media. Like, you must be a good writer. That is table stakes. The second thing is you have to have a good idea that you own the expertise of. It has to be something you're excited about, something you're actually an expert in. And then you got to own that whole ecosphere and develop the confidence to do that. And then the third thing, the way I explain this to my authors, is anointing yourself as the leader of your own movement. So in my book, which many people tell me is their favorite book of mine, I hate it because I hate the cover. So I never market this one, but it's called The Incubated Author. And it's 10 steps to start a movement with your message. And one of those steps is anointing yourself as the leader of that movement. A lot of people are waiting for someone to T. Harv Eker, Marianne Williamson, like, who is going to tell me you are good enough? Everyone you love, anyone you would want to have your name on a co-authored book with, they anointed themselves. No one's coming. It's you, boo. There's not another certification. There's not another degree. Becoming the person who wrote the book is one of the keys. So good writing, good idea where you're an actual expert on that idea and you have knowledge, and the confidence and the clarity to say, I'm going to plant my flag right here. And if you don't have the confidence, make your territory smaller. For Christmas, I gave my husband, I think it was 1 square inch in Ireland. It was like $45 or something online, right? And so even if the area you are proud to own right now is 1 square inch, and it's not like, what does Elon own? I don't know, Mars or something. Like, if you're not willing to claim a planet, like, we got you, that's cool. Claim the territory you feel most confident in right now and expand out from there. Own it. Don't share it with 24 other people.
Yeah. No, you just have to start somewhere. And most of the people listening to this, generally, like, even if you have done a collaborative chapter, you wrote that chapter as an expert of something, generally speaking, for most of the people I've seen in the business and marketing realm anyway. So, like, absolutely own that and expand on it, like Angela said.
Yeah. So that's what I got. That's why it is my pet peeve. I saw your post and you were like, oh, what are your thoughts? And I'm like, my thoughts are a podcast episode. I have many thoughts on this. But yeah, if you believe in yourself enough to write a chapter, then go write a whole book. You got this. You can do it. It's going to be much, much better. Even if you spend more on a whole book than you would have on a chapter, you will get a much greater return on investment.
Yeah, and it's absolutely something you can market as well, which, I'm going to give a shameless plug here because Angela actually can help you get your book done in like the fastest amount of time possible. So usually you would probably spend a week writing a chapter by yourself. Like, Angela could probably help you write a whole book in that time. So absolutely, if you guys have written a chapter somewhere or you're an expert in something, you've been thinking about writing a book, like, Angela's the solution that you need to get it done fast and effective in a way that actually grows business.
Yes. So I was going to say, and the key about the book Will Write is it's a book that's going to make sense for you to invest in advertising. You might decide to go the organic route, which is slower, but it does work. A lot of people like going the organic route. But if you're willing to invest some capital, get some clients that are maybe like one-on-one clients or VIP clients, take that capital and invest it in advertising. It's a book that can be rocket fuel for your business. So if you're trying to get out of a job, or you've got like your business is stagnating at 100K and you want to get to 200 or 500K and you need some rocket fuel, the rocket fuel is advertising, but only if you have a book that's actually going to make people want to buy you.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you're in a place where you got to grow, you've got bills and you've got to make it work fast, you got to write a book that's going to get you clients quickly and then pour the fuel on it. That's where Chris comes in with advertising. That's why we like working together so much, because I get the value of what he does. I don't have the fuel. He doesn't have the rocket. So you get a rocket here, get some fuel there, blast off. Maybe you will get that planet after all.
And I think that's a fantastic way to wrap up the episode. Angela, thank you so much for coming on and giving your thoughts on collaborative books. And if anyone has or wants to write a book, Angela, where's the best place for them to find you?
Yep. If you go to Difference Press, like make a difference, differencepress.com, there's a whole bunch of all my books are free. The Incubated Author, that book I shared about anointing yourself as the leader of your movement, that's up there for free. There's a bunch of free trainings, videos, lots of goodies, and most importantly, a link that says start now that gets you on my calendar.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's definitely going to be linked up in the show notes. So make sure you check that out. And I'm going to go ahead there and get all of your books right now.
Awesome.
Damn, what an awesome episode. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing on your podcast platform of choice so you get notified every single time a new episode releases. And if you're struggling with your book sales, head over to smartauthormedia.com/audit to get a free audit of your book sales to see where we can help you bridge the gap between not many sales to a lot of sales. It's a free resource call that we have together where I give you some clear action steps that you can take to take your stuff from broken to selling. I'll see you over there. Thanks again for listening.